Greetings and salutations, YouTube family and friends. T-Rav Vlogs here. What's up, guys? Previously on Convention Memories, we talked about our little Inuyasha group that we took to the first St. Louis-based anime convention that was hoping to stick around for a while. After something of a successful year, the convention decided that it was ready to break out on its own and become its own entity. Thus, no more Show Me Con, that was its own thing, and Anime St. Louis was going to be its own thing. On this episode of Convention Memories. Now, as stated a few episodes ago, I was a huge fan of Yu Hakusho, which was kind of what geared me towards that particular programming block, which led me to Inuyasha down the road. But even though I got to liking Inuyasha, I still had a love for Yu Hakusho. And over the next few years, the show kind of bounced around from programming block to programming block. It went to Toonami, which was the programming block before the later night showings, and then it also went to an after-school block, so I could come home from school, watch it, then head off to work, and so on and so forth. So I decided that after that first cosplay run, it was time to get serious about what I wanted to do for the future. And I thought at the time I was ready to try and pull off Kurama, but not the traditional outfit. At the time the convention was going to be rolling around, the Dark Tournament saga was a big thing at the time, so you had characters wearing alternate outfits. And for an anime, that was something that was a little different. Most times, the anime characters wore the same exact outfits all the time, from beginning of the episode to the end of the episode, from the beginning of the series to the end of the series. But in this case, we were starting to see some of the characters have alternate outfits. And in Kurama's case, one of his outfits was pretty simplistic, and I thought that was a pretty good way to get going with Kurama. Now at the time, I had some pretty long hair, and I told myself, I'm not going to be one of those cosplayers who gets a wig and does their makeup or whatnot. I want to keep things as bare bones as possible to make it nice and easy. I can just throw the costume on and go. So for a time, I kind of contemplated dyeing my hair bright red. But after having a good long think about it, I decided that it was going to be more effort to try to dye my hair than it would be to just break down, buy a wig, and just go for it. So I bought a wig for the first time. It was awkward. Now granted, right now the wig does look like it's in shambles a little bit. When I purchased it and used it for a while, I was young and naive and didn't realize that you're supposed to care deeply for your wigs if you want to get some longevity out of them. So I would just wear them for the con, pack them away, pull them out when the next con rolled around, without really giving it any brushing or care or anything, and just said, it'll do. It'll do for whatever I need it for. And that obviously was not the right train of thought to be in. So yeah, it's a little bit worse for the wear, but I did do some brushing and combing with it this morning, and maybe after I give it a good washing, it'll bounce back, because I do kind of want to bring Kurama back someday. So with the wig bought, it was time to get the outfit put together. A friend of mine's mother was pretty good with the sewing machine, so I begged and pleaded for her to see if she could put this particular costume for me together. And I have to say, I think she did a pretty good job, wouldn't you say? And as you can see, the costume still holds up today. It's a little worse for the wear because it's a little bit older, but it's still here. I still have it. And fun fact, those pants are actually my friend who was Shishomaru. He let me borrow his pants. So even though our sizes were vastly different, he had some elastic in the waistband, so believe it or not, they actually fit quite well. So a little bit of costume recycling for sure, so gotta be thankful to Shishomaru for letting me borrow his pants. So, with Kurama done and ready to go, we had our Shishomaru, who's going to be Hiei. We had our Sango, who was going to be young Genkai. We had another friend of ours who was going to be Dark Tournament Yusuke. And then we had our Ranma from the previous convention. He was going to be a different route. Instead of being one of the main heroes or main protagonists, he decided to be the opponent that Kurama faces in the Dark Tournament, Karasu. So once we had the whole group together, it was time to head off to Anime St. Louis and see what having a huge group, in my personal opinion, because, 3 was a decent group, but we had more like 5+ this time around. So this was going to be a much bigger group than I was used to being a part of. So it was going to be interesting to see how the convention reacted to it. And when we got there, everything seemed like it was going pretty well. Everybody liked us. Everybody was interested in how we got everything together. I know Karasu's mask was a paintball mask that we cut off the visor and stuff too. A lot of people were wondering how we ended up doing that. It was a really interesting effect, and I think it worked out quite well. So people were curious about us, people were happy to see us and whatnot, and overall it seemed to be pretty positive so far. Now, near the end of the first day, we decided to go down to a little Japanese steak and sushi place to have a little bit of dinner, calm down, unwind a little bit. The owner found us, loved us, and wanted to get some pictures with us, and in the middle of our meal we decided to stop, stand up, and pose and everything, and he said, well, you guys don't have to do that, you can continue eating. All the other groups just kind of sat at the table, and we said, no, if you want a picture, we are going to deliver. We will stand up, we will pull out our props, we will pose, we will do everything we can to make sure that your picture is the most memorable it can possibly be. I don't think he was ready for that kind of reaction, but he was very much appreciative, and I know we had a very good time. He certainly dug us, and that's going to be a memory that I will never forget. Now, when we returned to the convention, it was apparent that there had been some talk that was going on. There was a bit of a buzz around the convention, if you will. When we walked back in the door, somebody came up to us and said, oh my gosh, there you are. And we were like, what? And they said, you guys are the big Yu Hakusho group. Everybody's talking about you. Since the moment you guys walked in, everybody just started talking. The whole convention's a buzz. Where did you guys go? We said, we just went out to get some dinner. So apparently our presence there had caused a bit of a stir, and people were actively seeking us out. Because again, Yu Hakusho was a series that had been taking off and had been pretty popular for a while. So people were kind of starting to dig us even more. There was even word that a Botan was running around, which is another protagonist from the series. So after we found her, we had a pretty complete Yu Hakusho group. And that was quite a wild ride, I have to say. I wasn't ready to have people from the outside coming in to join the group and it become even more of a complete unit. That really made my convention, for sure. And it was at that convention that I decided to do something a little bit different that I didn't normally do. Instead of taking in a whole bunch of panels and bumming around the dealer's room and everything like that, I decided I was going to seek out expanding my social circle. So for a vast majority of the weekend, myself and our Karasu were walking the halls, mingling with people, just getting to know folks, seeing where they were from, what kind of series they were into, what got them into the fandom to begin with. And it was quite interesting to start making con friends. Before, I said the seeds were starting to be planted because I was noting who attended the convention. I was finding those people again this year so we could begin building a relationship of a friendship. Hey, I remember seeing you from last year. Oh my gosh, your costume was awesome. What's your name? Where are you from? So we could start to pass on information and keep in contact after the convention. It was a very interesting feeling because at that particular time, there were certain people that I met that I befriended quite quickly and got to know them, and there were others who I didn't know at the time, but later on down the road would start to affect my life in a very positive way. So friends in the present and friends in the future for sure. And I have to say that particular convention was a whole lot of fun. Having a huge group like that really got people's attention. The positivity was overwhelming. Everybody loved our costumes. I even met another Kurama at the time who was wearing the same type of outfit, so that was kind of cool to know that I wasn't the only one who was obsessed with the character at the time. And it was just a really great time, for sure. But it really wasn't all fun and games, because near the end of the convention, things started to get a little real for me. At that particular time, I was going to be graduating from college, so I didn't know what the future held for me. All of these friendships that I was making and building, all of this contact information I was getting to have some local anime friends, would it be worth it? Because I didn't know what was going to be happening after graduation. Was I going to be moving away? Was I going to have to completely change my interest because I'd be in a new area? Would I have to give up on anime because there was no conventions in the area, again like there used to be in St. Louis? I didn't know any of these answers, and in the back of my mind, I was kind of scared, because I was just starting to really like the convention scene and cosplaying and having friends who were into it and making more friends and enjoying the culture and mingling, and it was so much fun, and I was not ready to give it up, especially since it really just got started. But as we would find out later, I really had nothing to worry about, but like I said, I didn't know it at the time. And as things progressed, the convention scene evolved, it grew, and things just kind of started to level out, if you will. But that's for another episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this particular episode of Convention Memories. I know I had a lot of fun digging back into my memories and remembering this wonderful time, having all of my friends dress up as Yu Hakusho characters and just going around and having a fantastic time. Remember, if you guys like what you're seeing and you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe down below. Hit the little notification bell so you don't miss any notifications from any future episodes that I come out with. I still have a few more stories that I would like to tell in this series. And so far, from what I'm reading down below, you guys are really enjoying this series so far, and I could not be happier to hear that you guys are having as much fun reliving these experiences as I am. So what about you guys? Have you done any group cosplays that you are proud of? Do you have any pictures on the internet that you want to share? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys about your convention experiences, your group cosplays, and all of the wonderful things that you guys have been up to in the past convention seasons. But for now, that's really all I have to say about that. So until next time, I'll talk to you soon, and take care. Bye-bye.